Episode 19, In Search of Headaches.
In Search of Headaches?
Yes.
That's not what it's called. In Search of Headaches?
It is.
In Search
It
of
says
Headaches.
right there, ISO Headaches.
Who thought of that? I don't like that. That's a bad name. Hey,
Why
I'm
not?
Joe Mathis.
No,
Let's go.
it's great. That's what it's all about. I'm Todd Wade, and here we are.
I'm Joe Mathis. It's the Joe and Todd Show.
Welcome back.
And it sounds like we're talking about headaches today.
We're talking about headaches.
I don't like negative
you
words.
and I.
Headaches are negative.
Well, yes, they are, but our job is to take them away.
Okay.
Because we don't want to have
In
headaches.
search of
I have plenty of headaches otherwise. But we want to take our clients' headaches away. That's what today's topic is about.
Very well said. Very well said.
So where do we start?
Where do we start?
Well, let's just look at our notes and figure that out.
When we had the content meeting, it all flowed very well.
Yeah, no, it's great. So, I mean, the idea is we want to know our clients well enough that we can see what headaches they're having and help them out with those headaches. Because, I mean, we offer all kinds of services with Rumble Drum, but not all of our clients need all of our services. I mean, we do everything from silent auction coordination to registration to graphics to tablecloth decor, table decor, whatever.
Choosing tablecloths. That's what we do well.
That's what we do great. None of our clients do that. We do that.
No, I think I think a boring title could have been how to add value and making sure that what you're doing for your clients is what they need.
Yes.
That'd be the boring title.
But that's a really long title.
I don't know what I said.
We're not going to do that.
But really, I think that part of the key to every successful creative is figuring out where they fit in the picture.
Yes.
What are they for? What are they hired for? What's that look like? And I love that
if you're trying to sell a client a service that they already have in house. For example, we have a client that they're a large organization. They have a huge depth in the organization, especially in the graphics and marketing department. They've got it figured out. They don't need our graphics people to do an invitation for them because they've got people in house that do that every day. Day in and day out. They do mailers practically once a week, you know? So for us to come in and try and sell them on something they're already doing well, that just annoys them. And they finally say, stop asking us if we can do their graphics because they've got it covered. And you just, I think, but then there's other areas where they do need our help in coordinating certain vendors or, making the whole event come together, creating a theme, coming up with decor, that kind of thing. And so that's what they're hungry for. That's what they need us for. And so that's the headaches they have that we need to come in and take away.
I think one of the large mistakes that a lot of creatives make is we think, well, we're not very good at sales because we're selling something that's personal. And our ideas and our thoughts and our work is so personal to us, and to sell that is hard. And so, we start listening to these sales things. They're like, you got to make the sale and close the deal and upsell and all that. Upsell, is it upsell or upsell? Upsell, right?
Yeah. So
all those things you got to do. And I think as a creative, when we try to do that, it's so fake. It's so ingenuine, and a lot of times that gets us into trouble. And I think you're exactly right that it's better to look for what's needed and how we can fit in than to try to think of services we have that they need to buy. It's really, what services do we offer that they really need? Yeah. And I think I struggle with sometimes even how to figure that out always.
It's hard.
I love, you're such a good listener, usually. You're such a good listener.
I try. And
you can really pick up on stuff. And I think sometimes together, that we can pick up on conversations, we can kind of remember them and we can hear them and know, okay, their weakness is maybe organization. They have a lot of creatives on staff. Maybe they lack the making it all happen, bring it all together. So if we can bring in timelines or we can bring in just that organizational stability, then that's something that helps them and guides them. Usually for our clients, it's the opposite. They have the organizational side. They don't have the creativity side, and they need us to bring that creativity. Yeah, they don't have the design eye or something. I think on the flip side of all of this is you also have to let your clients know
what your capabilities are. We've run into this situation where, we've done decor for somebody for several years in a row, but they have no idea that we do graphics too, or that we do, silent auction coordination,
Video
or whatever it
production,
is,
or
video
yeah,
production.
yeah.
And so, and one of our efforts right now on our website is to make sure that people understand all of our capabilities. And we try and do that with some, like if it's a new client, we'll try and give them a proposal that includes kind of a little summary of everything we do, just so that they're aware of what our capabilities are.
I think that's been
I want to, but and then back to our topic, you don't want to push that on them. You want to just make sure they're aware of it, of our capabilities, and just
have it in their back of their mind. I think the way we're doing it in a subtle way, we're not really bringing it up, but if they look at our website, it's there, or mostly there. It needs some work. Yeah. Or if they're looking at a proposal, we have them listed there. I think you're exactly right. Yeah. I think one of the challenges a lot of times too is helping them to see that in such a positive way. Of, I love what came out of our recent discussions about our visions and values, of that one team mentality with our clients. Yes. And that's really who we are. And I love that that's come out, and we can now kind of label it and identify it, that one team look, because I think that's part of the deal. It's like, we're one team together. What are we contributing to the team? And, you only need so many third basemen or whatever, but
yeah, no, that's a great analogy. No, that's great.
But yeah, so when you play as a team, and if we look at their team and kind of figure out where do we fit in best, what do we do best, and I think that is hard sometimes. I think that one of the things I've learned through the years is the idea that we don't want to negatively reflect on them. So we don't want to say, "Oh, you're a really bad hitter," or "You're really bad at third base, so we're going to come and do that for you."
But if you hear them saying, "Hey, I need a third base hitter,"
right?
I mean, our response really needs to be, "Oh, we'd love to hit third base for you."
That's what we're good at, yeah. Or we can figure out how to be good at that.
Yeah, we'd love to help you with that. And I think having that attitude of willingness to help when they say something is, that's when you win the work.
I thought it was really interesting this week. One of my favorite moments this week in our calls and work and conversations was when the client said, "Hey, I've got this challenge in another city. And it's so simple, but I need ideas. Yeah. I need letters to go from one volunteer to another volunteer. Yeah. How do I get that done?" And it was so fun to me that I could easily make that happen while we were still on the call, and said towards the end of the call, "Hey, by the way, we've got that working and it's done." So I think that was a fun thing to me, because she saw that that's something we might be able to do. We might be able to take up and do, even though it's not really in our scope of service.
Right. It's not part of our job description.
We don't have delivery people.
Right.
But yeah, I think it really added value to what we do for them. And we haven't talked about this, but my guess is there won't be a charge for that. Like, even though we're paying someone to do it, we made something happen. That's going to just be part of our fee, and we'll just wrap that in. So it's not a big deal. One of the things I've noticed that we're doing a lot better than we probably used to is when we meet new people, especially, and this is sometimes over lunch, or we're getting acquainted with them, maybe even before we've taken on their work, it's kind of like we're doing an intake. We're not trying to sell them on our services. I think that's probably a mistake I used to make, was I always thought that first meeting needed to be all about me. Oh, I have all this experience, I've done all these things, but I think that recently we've kind of, here's our experience, let that stand on its own. We don't need to sell people on that. What we need to do is listen to them. And so, that intake conversation really is about, hey, what have you done in the past? Why did you call us? What do we need? How can we help you? And it's fascinating to me how much of that conversation, really, we write our proposal from that. And because we hear what they need, we hear what they say. And, I think about that conversation last week where they're talking about the grand opening of that building. And they saw us for one need. We went in, we just began having that conversation. And it was kind of like, hey, what are you guys doing for this? Or have you thought of this? And
do you have in-house help for this?
And yeah, we covered things like press releases. We covered things like setup, the room. We covered things like AV. Photographer. And it was like, oh yeah, we haven't thought of that. Oh yeah, we haven't thought of that. And so, I think what became, what probably could have been a very small, in fact, I think I was kind of dragging my feet going to that meeting, because it's like, this isn't going to be anything. You know, it could turn into something big just because they were able to see what we could do, but it wasn't out of, hey, this is what we're good at. It was out of, hey, have you thought of this? What do you need? What are you looking at? It was more that intake conversation.
So, random question for you. I know you love these, put you on the spot. When
I'm gonna look for my notes.
Think of a time that kind of using this approach led to like just expanding, like blowing it out of the water. You never thought you'd get that kind of a project.
Every project I've ever done. I mean, in a way, I kind of feel that way. In a way, I kind of feel like everything I've ever done has started small, and when we figured out how to take a headache away, it's blossomed into something big. And even over a number of years, you know, I think one of our larger clients right now, looking at several projects a year, we're taking on more and more for them. It really started as helping somebody else. If you remember that first conversation, we were helping another person who was kind of, you know, operating as our executive director, and kind of like, hey, we needed some help. And she was just kind of like, hey, I need you guys to be in the room and kind of guide through a couple of things. That first year, I don't remember what we did even, but it was pretty minimal. It kept growing. But we could, I think the first things was even kind of figuring out stage size, and like, oh, Todd's an architect, he can help us figure out how big the stage is. And it was that conversation. And then it's like, hey, would you want us to be at the event? Yeah, that'd be great. And us to be at the pre-con. And I think we did the programs the first year, designed the programs, but it was very minimal. And I know our takeaway was very small. And in some ways, I don't remember thinking that this is going to blossom into the big client that it is now. but it has. And it's because every time they present a headache, we've been able to kind of say, hey, that's something we'd be happy to take on and do. That's a really good question. I think that happens over and over again for us.
It really does.
It starts small and grows into something bigger because we're listening for those opportunities.
That's good. So turn it around. Do you feel like our vendors are doing that for us?
Oh, that's a good question. Our best vendors do. Yeah, our best vendors do.
Our favorite vendors do that. I mean, you think about the printers we use, they're constantly saying, oh, let me go find that paper for you, or let me do the stamping for you, or you know, whatever it is.
We can do
all those extras.
Yeah, we can make this happen.
Yeah, we can get it here in 2 days or whatever. So I think that's a good, you know, just if you're a vendor listening, you know, that's a good way to earn more business, is to listen to your clients.
One of our favorite vendors is Alex, big company picture, but I've never heard him say no. And I know it was funny because one thing I realized that's
true.
One time he bought a company because he was saying yes to their particular product a lot, and then he was outsourcing it to them. Ended up buying that company just so he could be a better company because he was saying yes so much. And that's pretty crazy to me. I mean, that's pretty cool, but that's his mentality. It's whatever it takes. And my first meeting ever with him was in a parking lot. We were doing an event far away. We had to get there, and he met me in the parking lot like at 9:00 at night to get me everything we needed. And I'm like, you're the owner of the company? Like, you're the president or whatever, and you're meeting me in the parking lot. Like, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes. And you know, I would have brought it on down there if you needed me to. And that's a cool mentality, and he just completely takes it off our hands. That's great. And I think there's lots of other vendors that do that too. I think the vendors that get in our way sometimes are those who have such a tight box. You know, that this is my fees, this is what I do. No, I don't do that. You know, I think about we're asking Lauren recently about the photo book, and she's a photographer. Well, you do a photo book. She's like, oh yeah, I love doing that. She just jumped right in, and I thought, why haven't I been asking her to do this before? Because it's always been kind of that headache over there. And it's like, she's taking it and run with it and giving us choices and samples, and like, wow, this is
the whole thing happen.
Awesome. So very, very good question.
Well, cool. I love this topic, and I think it's really been key to the success of the company, and many of our vendors as well. So I love it when people can find the right place and help each other out in that way.
Yeah, I just want to recap real quick. So our goal is to take headaches away.
Yep.
Our goal is to find things that a client needs that we can offer. And the best way to do that is really through listening. Listening.
Yep.
It's not through selling.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard. I mean, it's
profound.
It is pretty profound
Okay.
that I think so many times we're told to sell. I grew up retail thinking that way, or real estate, that sort of thing. It's like you're always selling, and we don't do that. We offer services.
Yeah.
And take away headaches. That's kind of good. In search of headaches. This has been a lot of fun to think about today. We would love to hear basically your struggles in doing this. I think one of the things that happens a lot with creatives, ironically, is that we get in these boxes and we start thinking this is what we're going to do and this is how we do it, and then creating that flexibility to go ahead and do stuff. One of the things we talked about before is that delivery. Pick up and delivery. Years ago, I had a nonprofit client who had a very small office, and they just kind of looked at me like, I don't know how to get my stuff home. I'm like, hey, we'll be happy to bring it to you tomorrow. And it erased all their challenges. And it was just like it was simple. We could add a charge for that if we wanted to or whatever, but we made it happen. And I think that's something to think about. And a lot of times as creatives, we get in this box of like, I don't know, no, I can't deliver it, or no, I can't bring it to you. No, I can't make that. Well, that's going to cost you double to do that. Or we start thinking it's cost in the way. And we work really hard to say, yeah, we can do that. Let's make this happen. Let's figure it out. And then if we need to go back and have a cost conversation, we can do that. Or you say, hey, by the way, we may not be the most cost-effective way to do that. There may be a better way because that's part of our services or whatever. But I can't think of many times we even had that conversation. It's more like, get it done. Thank you. Send me the bill. Let's figure it out. So we would love to encourage you in that. If we can help in any way, be sure and like us, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. That's my big thing. I've been loving followers on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So that's a great way to connect to people. And email us. I'm Joe at rumbledrum.com.
I'm Todd at rumbledrum.com. It's easy.
We pretty much always answer our emails if we like the people. No, that's not true. We always answer our emails one way or another eventually. So please do email us. We're going to keep out of junk mail as much as we can. So we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to connect with you. And will you please tell your friends about us? That'd be really helpful to us. We just want to help as many people as we can and really grow our viewership, listenership of podcasts. We're on wherever you can listen to podcasts, and you can always find us on the website, rumbledrum.com. And again, we're here to help you. We want you to grow as a creative in business and make lots of money and do lots of good stuff. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.